So in this video, we're going to talk about how to add that cutout figure that we did in the Photoshop demo into InDesign. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out a square. And so what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to fill the background. I'm going to go to the rectangle tool. I'm going to fill that. And we'll have a nice background color that we'll see that figure pop out on really well. I'm not super into that green color, so we'll just make it magenta. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to place the file into my InDesign document. We never copy and paste if we do that. It's adding a lot of extra information to your file that'll slow it down a lot. And a lot of you have pretty good sized documents that you'll be working with. So I simply just need to remember File and Place, Command D. You never want to copy and paste into your document or drag and drop. You're always going to place your files. So I'm going to go Command D. And then here you can see I've got my Photoshop document. And I want to add it as a PSD because I might be that I want to go back in and edit it later. So I'm going to draw out my initial box, and there I've got my figure. I can click and I can drag it around however I want to. And what's nice about this is I can resize it or reshape it however I want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the bottom handlebar. You can pick any of them. And you'll notice as I dynamically drag that it didn't automatically size to refit. So make sure your box is selected. I know it's selected because I've got the handlebars are showing up and it's a brighter blue. And I'm going to go to Object, down to fitting, and down to fit content proportionally. So that really long key command right there, which kind of cramps up your hand, which is Command Option Shift E. But as you do this, you'll get faster at it. So now I've got this figure that I can kind of play with and I can work with. I can also make a copy by holding down Shift and dragging. And same thing, I can make it smaller. You'll notice as I move my box, if I wanted to crop it or show it in a certain way, I could do that. And I can also, with that box selected, I can also go in and play with what that color is behind the figure too. So I could also change the color of my box if I wanted to. So that's kind of a fun thing that we can do. Let's say that I wanted to make like a little small version of this. I'm going to do the same exact thing I did over here, which is I'm going to go up to Object, Fitting, Fit Content Proportionally. And look, I've got like a little tiny version of it. So I can play with a lot of things in InDesign. I can also really kind of go in and place my objects, play with them. If you're not happy with the selection, you can just simply go into Photoshop. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you what it's going to look like when I edit that. So right now, I am going to go to Window and I'm going to go to Links. And my links are actually already up and I see them right here. So here are my links. And what I'm going to do is I am going to control click and it brings up this menu. I can also get to this option right here by these three stacked elements. And I can say Edit Original. I can also say Edit With. And so right now I want to make sure that it's opening in Photoshop. And I'm going to say Open Adobe Photoshop. And now I'm going to switch back to my original version. There are a couple things that you can do to manipulate and play with your elements that you cut out. And I'm going to bring up my layers. And one of which is right now, you can see on the pink, it's not popping as well as I would like it to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a curves adjustment, just like we would with if we were editing our work. And I might make it a little bit lighter. I might add a little bit contrast. You'll notice that my colors are kind of shifting a little bit too much. And then I can also totally change the color of whatever I'm working with. So I can go down to my adjustment layers. And let's say that I really wanted to play with my hue and saturation. So you can use your hue slider right here to just kind of go through and change. And maybe I want that figure really to pop off of the screen a little bit more. And we'll go back up this way. So maybe this is more what I would like for my figure. I can also, once I click down here, I can also work with color balance. There's lots of different things I can go through and I can kind of play with. But let's say that I'm happy with this. I'm like, oh, I really want to see what that looks like. All I'm going to simply do is save my file in Photoshop. I'm going to hop back over to InDesign, and you'll notice that dynamically it has updated it. And you'll notice now this one, that cyan background isn't working so well, so maybe we'll fill it with a different color. We'll fill it with a yellow. There we go. So you can see dynamically as you update and change things in Photoshop, this also works with an Illustrator file as well. It'll dynamically update in your Illustrator, or excuse me, in your InDesign file as well. So these are some fun things that you can do when you're laying out and working with your files. Just make sure that you're saving it as a Photoshop document and that you're placing your files.